it's a magic spot. It's a miracle. It really is.
Yeah, Cortes Bank has to be, you know, definitely one of the biggest wave spots with the biggest wave potential anywhere in the world, no question. Cortes is really kind of an anomaly. If you look at the big picture of Southern California, you know, we have all these offshore islands scattered off the coast. Well, there's another island called Cortes Bank, you know, where Catalina and San Clemente and all those other islands popped up above. You know, Cortes just didn't quite make it, you know, so it's just hovering underneath the surface. At its shallowest point, one mountain peak underwater comes up to about 6 feet underwater, and that's called Bishop Rock right there. Here's the thing with Cortes, you know, it's so exposed. It's 100 miles off the coast, so it's going to be open to any swells from 360 degrees. The bank itself is actually about 20 miles long, which is about the same size as, say, like Catalina or other islands. So when we get swells coming in, approaching the bank, they actually run the length of this island, feeling the underwater topography. We call it bathymetry. And as we know, waves will wrap towards shallower water, and that's exactly what happens out at Cortes Bank. The good swells out there are starting to feel the bottom at about 1,000 feet deep. From 1,000 feet deep all the way up to 6 feet deep, you know, the bottom's just grabbing that swell and pulling it and matching it and crossing it up, and it's just a myriad of crossovers in the swells and stuff.
First thing I noticed the first time I surfed it was the speed of the wave was something I've never felt before. And I think it's just obviously due to the fact that there's nothing blocking. It's just open ocean swell, and it just comes in and unloads on the reef. At Cortes, when you let go, you're probably going about 30 miles an hour, and then, you know, I'm not sure, maybe 20 miles an hour on when you're riding the wave. 50 feet in square. I mean, they're you know, it's awesome. The inside bowl on the western kind of corner of the reef, the wave goes square, and it's just nuts.
There's really a favorite part of the reef out there. The actual good west bowl, it actually curves around and kind of comes in a little bit more out of the southwest to make that bowl. Where the reef kind of turns, you've got this nice little bowl, kind of like a Sunset Beach, Hawaii type, you know, West Peak type of situation. And that's the part of the reef that really doubles up the wave and makes the wave a little extra big and really good shape and hollower and that sort of thing. But it's really hard for the swell to hit that part of the reef just right. You just ideally want a pure swell. The swell period affects how much it'll wrap over the reef or not wrap over the reef, and so you have all this, you know, 3- and 4-dimensional kind of a problem trying to, you know, wrap the swell into this right spot, and a lot of times it'll miss. The wave moves way faster than any of the other spots. It moves faster than Jaws, Mavericks, Totos for sure. It's just so much more deep water. The actual contour of the wave is kind of weird. The bottom of the wave is real slopey, and then it comes up, and then it's got that, you know, nice big, on a good one, nice big barrel at the top. There's kind of like 3 major points out there, and sometimes there's this north spot, but you go surfing there, you're going to get cleaned up because there's no kind of escape kind of a thing.
There's different sections to the wave. The top of the reef, which breaks on a more northerly swell, it's the first part of the reef that the swell hits. Then that will peel off for a while, almost go into a semi-channel depending on the size of the surf, and then there's like another peak, and then what we call the west bowl. So there's kind of 3 different takeoff spots depending on the day. Obviously, the more westerly the swell, you wind up surfing the last bowl. The conditions out there, I mean, once you round San Clemente Island, it's got its own weather system out there. It's completely different. I've seen perfect high-pressure Santa Ana days, and you go around the corner and you're like, oh, we're going to score. San Clemente Island's clear as a bell, and it's a complete fog bank out there with northwest wind blowing 30 miles an hour.
You really need kind of like a stable environment out there, which is really hard to get for a spot that's so exposed. You can't, you know, ride a 60, 70, 80-foot wave and have a 20-foot wave coming at you from the other direction. Even the Santa Anas, you know, come off the coast at, you know, 40, 50 knots and stuff, they'll blow a swell going out that way. You just have so much water moving around there. It's just, you know, it's pretty severe.
I've never seen so much whitewater for so far. The playing field is huge. It's literally peeling for probably a mile. You can actually lose your guy really easy, and it'll take you maybe 10 minutes to get back to the area where he fell. There's a ton of current. It's wild. You know, you've got swell circling all around the reef everywhere, and you get these currents going different directions. And it's wild when you fall on a wave, and even after the set passes and you're on the inside and you're just kind of floating, waiting for your guy to pick you up, you're moving pretty quick in different directions. You definitely feel vulnerable, and you feel like you are in the middle of the ocean. You could literally just be gone pretty quick.
You have these waves traveling 20 miles over underwater bathymetry, and they're all wrapping different ways, and so the type of wave that you get is going to be pretty unique, and you're just trying to find those waves that kind of break over the certain part of the reef. So a lot of times they're approaching from different angles, or merging, or doubling up, and so, you know, there's so much water moving around there and stuff that there's so much foam, you know, coming from the, you know, the other two spots that are kind of breaking. So you have foam coming down, plus this spot that you're surfing. And then you've got white streaks through the water and stuff. I mean, if you lose your board, it's just gone. You can't see it, you know, and there's so many big 10-foot waves, you know, kind of going up and down, you just can't see it. It's not like it's flat calm and you can, oh, there it is, you know, and go grab it. There's no sand out there. It's all rock and kelp and big fish. The reef is kind of weird. It really depends on the swell. Sometimes the current is kind of flushing off the reef and pushing everybody kind of like down the reef a little bit, pushing out. But then you get a little bit more of a west swell, and the current actually will kind of suck back up. And then sometimes actually you get more of a north swell, and then you get current coming down the reef, but then you've kind of got this reverse wrap coming around the other side, which, you know, kind of reverses. And those are the ones that are, you know, like a bathtub out there. That wave is difficult to surf because, you know, the bottom is so long. And where do you hit your bottom turn? I don't think they really know until they commit and drop into it. It's a pretty spooky place overall, and the difficulty of trying to get a clean swell out there to do it right, and something that really gets the kind of size that you need is really difficult to try to forecast out there. And then the weather conditions with the fog and the wind, and the last thing you want to be doing out there is cruising around with fog when there's 60-foot waves. Hopefully your radar is working good because the waves are so big you can see them on the radar. It's a super dangerous spot, and it's kind of it's kind of sensitive because there's a lot of people that really want to go out there to, you know, just to see it, which is cool and stuff, but when it's big, it's like, it's dangerous. The problem is, you know, if you get anywhere near that wave in like 50 feet of water even, you know, you stand a chance of getting mowed down by a, you know, 80-foot wave. And if that happens, you know, people will die. So Cortes is, you know, fortunately we understand what is needed to make that break finally. To get that, you know, super good quality and super big wave that's rideable. Just
Based on where it's located, how it hits the reef, the whole deal, I think the biggest waves in the world will be ridden there for sure. I mean, we've only been surfing the place for, what is it, you know, 8 years now?
It's just an incredible spot. You know, it's like one of the 7 wonders of the world, I think, you know, if you're a surfer.